this meeting. Thank you for being here tonight, May 20th, Monday. We will start with prayer. Please bow your heads if you so desire. Pledge of allegiance. Gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you now. We just give you thanks for this community. We ask you to watch over this council, these residents, our EMS staff, our police staff, everybody involved. We ask you to be with the hospital staff through these trials that they're going through. We ask you to be with our residents during certain changes that happen within our communities. We ask you to guide us and direct us each and every day. We give you thanks for all that you do and continue to do in our lives. We ask you to be with those who are sick and just need your loving arms wrapped around them and heal them. Thank you for all you do. In your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Bassett.
Here.
Egley. Here. Bailey.
Here.
Beverly.
Here.
Martin.
Here.
Miller.
All right. I want to introduce Bill Cherry. I asked him to be here tonight to discuss things within the hospital situation. Thank you, Bill, for being here. Sir.
Thank you. Wanted just to provide an update and wanted to start with a little bit of history of what we've been trying to do over the last several months and some of the outcomes of those initiatives and then how it's led us to where we are today. The hospital has accumulated substantial amount of liabilities over the last 10 years due to a number of different factors that I think are pretty well known within the community. We've reached a point where the level of debt that the hospital had, level of liabilities, made it such that operating it became not practical. Just the sheer debt load and coverage of those expenses made it very challenging then to pay operating expenses in addition to that. So as a result, we put together a plan that was twofold. One was to look at our expense structure, see how we could revisit that, lower it to an appropriate amount that would allow us to continue from an operating perspective, being able to go forward. But second, more importantly, was to look at how do we address the larger debt component of this in a way that would allow us to restructure and then go forward without all of those liabilities sitting over the hospital. So we put together a plan to go through or request permission to go through a Chapter 9 bankruptcy. And per Ohio law, that requires permission from the tax commissioner. In early April, we submitted a request to the tax commissioner. We had the background as to what led us to where we are. We had the plans and the actions that we had taken that were allowing us to continue to actually cover our operating expenses. And then we had a exit plan of what we anticipated coming out of the bankruptcy process. We had some back and forth with the tax commissioner and the governor's office at answering questions that they had, providing additional information that they requested. And unfortunately, at the end of the day, they opted to not take any action. Per the Ohio code, they have the option of approving, denying, or not acting on the request at all, which was the course that they chose to take. So that put us in a difficult position. We have substantial liabilities that we had, substantial debts that we had to a number of critical vendors that we can't operate without. And we essentially reached the end of the line with many of those vendors where they demanded payment either in total or in great part, or they would terminate services. The reality is that we could have paid some of those, but we would have had to do that in lieu of covering our operating expenses, the biggest one being salaries. That's not something I was willing to do. I was not going to ask any individual to come and work and not be able to provide them the pay that they have earned. So, where we are is that CMH is in a similar position as 30% of the rural hospitals in the United States, which are at risk of closing. We have made the decision to suspend services for the time being. What that means is that the emergency department's not open. The radiology department, lab services, etc., are not open. We are working in the background, trying to see if there are any of the other regional health systems that may have an interest in coming in and either acquiring the hospital or partnering with the hospital in some way. We've had discussions with most of those in the region with some varying results out of that. I think that there are interest from most, but most have the same concern that they had last year when some of these discussions initially started, which is related to the level of the liabilities, both from vendors as well as from an OPERS perspective, and that they're not willing to take the hospital on with those liabilities in place. So there are some potential options that we're continuing to explore, but at this point I would say that the odds are not particularly positive. Again, I think that probably the biggest thing that could have changed the course here, or I think there's still an opportunity for it to change course, is if there is a change of direction in Columbus and they opt to give us permission to pursue the bankruptcy restructuring, which would help us with some of the vendor debt that we have, which would fall then into the standard bankruptcy process and allow us then to continue moving forward with operations. It's unfortunate. The staff at the hospital has been very dedicated to this community, been very dedicated to the hospital itself. Those that have stayed through last week, through yesterday, almost all have had options to go elsewhere. Some are working at other locations but continue to support this hospital. So in this community. So again, it's unfortunate that we have not been able to come to a resolution that allows that level of service to be demonstrated to the community as a whole. On I guess a longer picture, if we do wind up, if the hospital does wind up closing, I think that there is a potential that one of the other health systems would ultimately look to acquire the building and provide some type of services there, but that is an unknown at this point in time. And then probably the biggest unknown is how quickly that action would occur. So I don't expect that is something that would occur relatively quickly, I would suspect that that's probably at least a year or more out down the road if that is the direction that we go. So I'll just close with that particular point. I know it's disappointing, extremely disappointing for me that this is kind of where we have gotten to. I would ask that anyone who wants to continue to try and help and support, please reach out to the governor, the tax commissioner, and let them know that really the only avenue that we have left at this point is for them to grant us the permission to pursue bankruptcy filing. And I'd be happy to take on any questions that anyone has.
Is there any state representatives or anybody helping with this?
No. Probably the most active support we have received is from Congresswoman Capter's office, who has reached out to the governor's office and spoken on our behalf. Those calls have not gone positively.
Anyone else have any questions for Bill? Harold?
How long can you stay around?
I will be around for a while. So while, or as long as the board will have me, while the clinical operations side is paused, we have some work that we're continuing to do, so we have some responsibility. One, just to maintain the facility and maintain the values, because again, I think ultimately what my goal would be is for someone to want to come in here and take that facility on. And the only way to have that happen in a timely way is that we keep it in good condition and not let it fall apart. So we're going to do everything we can to make sure that we're doing that. We need to go through and do an inventory of all the equipment of the facility. We have medication that we need to make certain that is all gathered up. What needs to be disposed of is disposed of. What can be stored is stored. What can be returned or sold is returned or sold. So we'll continue to do those types of things. We also have considerable amount of outstanding dollars that are still owed to the hospital for services performed, so we're continuing to work on collections of those dollars. Again, recognize we have a lot of creditors, and we're trying to do the best we can to pay them. So in order to do that, we need to be responsible and collect as much as is owed to the hospital.
I also heard a rumor, I'm sure you haven't heard any, but, and I know you're not a lawyer, but I'm sure you know, the rumor around town was that if the hospital goes closed for a year,
Yeah.
the debt is relieved and somebody can take it over, or you can start it back up.
Yeah, so I think that there are two pieces to that, and you're correct. I'm not an attorney, so I'm not going to even pretend to play one. There is no need for the facility to close for someone to take it over. So I have heard that.
But if
rumor.
somebody takes it over, they assume your debt.
Potentially.
Yeah.
So, and that's what we're working on.
But that was the
to
main
how
part
do
of the
we-
rumor, was if it's closed for a year and then somebody takes it over, allegedly, the debt is relieved.
Yeah, and I have not heard that part of it.
That's what I was looking for.
And in conversations with our legal counsel, that is not something they have mentioned. again, the cleanest way would have been through a bankruptcy process, because, then the judge determines what portion of it is still payable, or, based on the assets, what can be paid back, at what percentages to other people. Without that, there is a way of selling the assets free and clear, meaning that the liabilities don't carry over to a new owner. The part that is unknown, how it will be handled, is that debt will still be sitting there with the Mark Milford Hicksville Joint Township Hospital District. And that district has no purpose and no operations, no business that it's overseeing any longer. So they're unclear how to go about eliminating that debt without a bankruptcy.
Yeah, I mean, bankruptcy is your only way out.
Yeah. Which again, it's a circular argument that at some point it's going to have to be approved. But at this point they chose not to do that. And again, I have no idea as to why. We thought we put together a very good plan, a very reasonable plan to them.
No, we just need to get on a letter writing campaign.
Right.
Yeah.
Did they tell you why they didn't accept the bankruptcy proposal?
They did not.
So that's surprising.
We received a one-sentence response, which was the commissioner has opted to not take any action. We responded as asking for why, and they referred us back to the email response that they had provided previously.
So one quick question. So there was a levy done for the hospital that the residents voted on.
Okay.
Was that over? I mean, I don't remember how long that levy was for or what year. Lost track of time, but.
Yeah, I'm not familiar. I know that there are, the hospital receives funds, but I don't know if that's from a particular levy or whether that is just, general support through, property taxes.
So I was just wondering if it wasn't up and running anymore, if you're still collecting on the levy money or not.
Yeah, again, I think that is a question for an attorney to ask.
With several entities owning that building, do you know, have they gotten together with you guys to discuss that?
You're talking about the bond debt?
Just the
portion?
building itself?
Yeah, so, so my understanding is the building is owned by, again, the hospital district. And it has been an interesting process learning about Ohio law related to public entities. So we do not believe that there is any mortgage or encumbrances on the actual building or real estate. There are some on some of the equipment. We do have somewhere between $4.7 and $6 million in outstanding bond debt, but they're not guaranteed by the building itself. So, I mean, at a higher level, your question, yes, we have had regular and routine calls with the two banks and the USDA, which are the three owners of the bonds that the hospital used to build the building. They're obviously not happy with the circumstances, but this is not a surprise to them. We've been transparent in what our circumstances were, and then we evolved in the discussions as far as what our plans were as far as looking to pursue bankruptcy as well.
How long will you hold on to the equipment before you have to start liquidating it? This is a brand new MRI, right?
Yeah,
Or is
well,
that process?
so the MRI actually has not been delivered yet, and we're working through that process, whether we're going to be able to actually take delivery of that. We're not looking to sell any of the, any of the equipment, any of those things from the hospital itself. We don't believe that we can at this point in time. We believe that we need to either continue to move forward with operations, or if we then choose to shut down the hospital, then it's going to be a kind of a broader process of how the creditors are handled, and beginning to sell assets, equipment, a piece at a time, I think is more troublesome than helpful. There are some outside properties, Edgerton, Antwerp, that we may look to divest of earlier, but the property here in Hicksville will continue to stay, and the equipment will continue to stay until we kind of find out a direction. And the ideal circumstance would be that someone else comes in and they're buying the equipment, the building, the land, and then restarting services here at the hospital itself.
I imagine though, medical equipment expires and is outdated. How long though until that's no longer useful to them?
Yeah, most of the equipment does not go out of use that quickly. I've seen X-ray machines that are 20 years old and still work fine. There's always newer versions of it, similar to cars, or newer versions of it, but the old ones continue to work well. And so I don't think that there's anything that's imminent that would lose significant value by waiting 12 months before it were sold to someone else.
If I looked right, I was showing it was primary of 2020. It was put on there for a $1 million 5-year levy for the community to support the hospital.
Okay.
That's what passed, so that's still in effect then.
Okay.
What I seen was right, so.
Okay.
Else have any other questions for Bill?
Thank you for sticking around and trying to clean up this mess that was created.
Well, this is a definite impact on our community, our townships, and local communities around us at all levels. We've been blessed to have a hospital.
Yeah.
We hope to maybe gain another hospital as soon as possible, but I expressed with the EMS and the fire and other departments, other towns' EMSs and rescue units. They're doing everything in their power to due diligence to get to the patient care to the other facilities during this time. So change happens, and I know we got good departments, good staff to move that forward. So letting the residents know, and I know they made some statements and good quality statements on Facebook, and a lot of TV stations are calling, wanting to interview and different things like that. I know Bruce has been with them, so I just hope and pray that we can find another facility to come in and take over.
I do as well, and that's my goal right now, is making that happen.
Thank you, Bill.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Next we have Erica, but I'm going to move her closer to the end of the meeting. Is that okay, Erica? Okay, very good. We'll go into approval of regular council meeting minutes from May 6th.
I'll move to approve minutes.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Egley?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Bassett?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Egley?
Yes.
You have a bills listing, payment listing in your packet. Any questions, concerns on that?
Are already at AEP? We got like $18,000 electric bill. we had hired a company to come in and do all these things that were gonna save us all kinds of money. I know they put some light bulbs in down at the sewer plant.
They did, they just did the study of what it was, what they recommended.
We never followed through?
Just lighting. We go through all the
All the buildings had
controls.
them installed.
Huh?
All the buildings had new LED lights. All
Yeah, but
the-
like the water treatment plant and stuff like that, sewer plant, we didn't go through and put VFDs or change motors
Oh.
or do anything like that. But
Oh.
they give a price of what it was gonna cost, but, yeah, we just did lighting.
And it's a lot of money for electricity.
It's pretty much doubled even on private
Residential.
residential.
Well, yeah, the rates all went up.
Yeah.
I mean, even with the subsidiaries out there that are lowering our costs,
Yeah.
still went up, so, across the board.
On, Bangor excavating, is that the end of it?
No, they still have, well, that's, yeah, it's their amount.
That's all I wanted to know.
Make most pay the bills.
Second.
Roll call.
Egley,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Beverly.
Yes.
Moving along, there was no boards or commissions that met. Council committee reports. Go to the administrator's report.
Other than what I've got listed here, I don't have anything to add.
Did they finish the tennis court fencing, did they?
Sir.
Is there any intentions on putting a sign up to keep golf carts off of the cement by the ballparks? I know that's been an issue. I know it got addressed last year.
Down there, but they might be faded out pretty bad.
I was gonna say, I haven't seen any
They're gonna put
kind of
poles.
up there where the cement starts. Might need to be addressed again.
Put signs up that the only thing that'll tell you is who can't read.
Well, then maybe we need to put poles all the way around. It just isn't safe for kids to be running on the cement and for a golf cart, and that's their safe zone. We tell them to stay out of parking lots, don't run in a parking lot. Why would we bring the parking lot to the kids? It'd be nice to see a sign or something up.
I'm glad somebody asked about the tennis courts. 'Cause I know when they took the fencing down, there was some marks and stuff. Some of the lines were maybe messed up. I don't play pickleball, can you tell? Anyway, we're not resurfacing the courts right now, are we? Painting nothing, they're gonna kind of be as they are. All right. And then somebody had asked me about the parking lot between the football field with this project with the splash pad. Is that part of the plan to get that resurfaced once the project?
Yeah, it'd be a separate cost.
Right.
Are we gonna cut any of that hill off? You went up the big hill to the pool. Are we gonna cut any of that off now that the splash pad's way down there?
Not the good plan, no.
All right, anybody have any more questions for Corey? Rachel, you're up.
First reading of resolution 2024-12 by caption only, authorizing village administrator to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio EPA Division of Drinking and Groundwater's grant program and to execute contracts as required and declaring an emergency.
So that's through a grant then, by that Wheeler Rex?
Yeah, we were awarded a $10,000 grant. Last year, I think the maximum was $10,000. And last year, the valve exerciser was like $9,600, so.
I'm gonna suspend the rule.
I second that.
Roll call.
Martin,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yep.
Bailey,
Yes.
Miller,
Yep.
Bassett,
Yes.
Egley.
Yes.
Second and final reading of resolution 2024-12 by caption only, authorizing village administrator to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio EPA Division of Drinking and Groundwater's grant program and to execute contracts as required and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Bassett,
Yes.
Egley,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yep.
Martin,
Yes.
Miller.
Thank you, Rachel. Next we have department head, police chief.
The only thing I have is our Durango is currently at statewide board, ready to be outfitted. And according, I talked to statewide, they have to order the equipment because there was no communication between Enterprise and them with when it was gonna be here, so we have to wait on equipment.
Working on that.
So, that's the only thing I have with that.
Very good. Bruce? Diane?
So first thing, this is gonna be for Stacy. I have a firefighter EMT application that I'd like to nominate. I'd like to bring forward for consideration. His name is Jordan Lee Wolf. He's from here in Hicksville, and he's applying for both firefighter and EMT.
So you got all the credentials for both?
Not yet. There is a free fire class in Columbus, 2 weekends in August. It's for Fire 36, and it'll be the 36-hour. So we'll see who wants to go down there, and it's actually free housing, free food, free everything. As part of the state fire marshal. So we will see who wants to go down there for that. But as far as the EMS, EMT side, we'll get him into a class as soon as possible. So, but I wanted to bring his name forward for you guys tonight.
Okay. Under Bruce's direction, bring Jordan Wolf into the program. Make that nomination.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Bassett?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yep.
Martin?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Egley?
Yes.
Is that the young man right there?
Is that
Yes, sir.
Jordan?
No,
All right.
we made it.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you,
So
sir.
Jordan rode with us earlier today, so he had to be able to smile on his face too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
So, thank you, Jordan.
Thank you much.
So the new repeater, I know that there was something, and it's funny that I'm bringing this up because about 2 minutes ago on my watch, I got a text message that said, hey, I just saw that this wasn't done, but I'm sending it right now. So I had sent, after the last council meeting, I had sent an email. I said, council has decided to move forward with the new repeater. However, they want to guarantee that this new repeater will work on the 75-foot tower outside the fire station. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the response that I got was, as we discussed in person during our visit, myself nor any radio dealer will not put a 100% guarantee that this will work and give you the same coverage that you have come accustomed to. What I can do is come out and do a test prior to this being approved or stamped. We have a 100-watt rental repeater that we could put in place at the fire station, shut the water tank down, and have Defiance County Sheriff run some test pages to test the coverage. At this point, I don't see any other option within the time frame that you have presented to us.
Is there a cost on that?
No, as far as I know, there's no cost because we have already agreed to getting the new repeater. We're just asking them to run some tests to make sure, to verify that we can get out.
So we would be foolish to say no.
Right, exactly. So I wanted to bring it to you guys, so that way you guys could say yes, no, or whatever.
I thought because I thought I asked about it last meeting and was it written right down there? They would guarantee it.
It was written in one quote.
Yeah.
And that 75-foot quote, or the 75-foot tower, he's sending me the quote on it right now. So that's, because I asked for the quote to include the 75-foot language on that. So, So as soon as if you say yes, go for it, I will call them, and I will call them tonight yet and tell Dave, hey, get over here as fast as you can, because I know that June 19th date is rapidly coming up, so.
We've also reached out to Jerry Sanders over at Farmer, and still awaiting their reply.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we are awaiting the reply. Yes.
Well, do we need to make a motion or just straw vote or what?
Well, if we've already kind of purchased the thing.
You've
right?
already purchased it, I just want to make sure that you guys know what's going on, and then that way you guys can sit there and say, yes, do what you got to do.
Do what you gotta do.
Okay, that's all I need to hear.
We gotta have it, so.
Yes. All right, so EMS side, we got a new Lucas device that just came in last week. That was compliments of the Mrs. Green donation, so thank you. So far, from the beginning of the year, actually, our billing company has billed $85,164. We haven't seen anything come in yet, but I don't expect that to be too much longer. And that does go back to the beginning of the year. So $85,000. 511. So I had 511. I had first response come over and pick up 511. Okay, Cheryl and I talked, and she's like, let's just go over everything, make sure that we've done everything that we can, So I called first response, they came out, picked it up. We're sitting at $2,000 right now for fixing. What they have done is that they have replaced a headlight module, the thermostat, and the plug where you plug in, because apparently when they did the remount or whatever, the plug was right next to a metal rod, so every time you plugged in, yes, you were going to get sparks. So they replaced that. They are keeping it for a few more days to make sure that they can maybe get the lights and the other stuff to replicate. If not, they will be bringing it back to us. So I wanted you to know that.
Does that mean they're gonna drive it too?
Yes, they will be driving it. So this week is EMS week. So yeah, with the hospital, congratulations to EMS week. With the hospital, I have been, like the mayor said, I have been on TV more here lately than I care to be, but have been interviewed. I just want the general public here to know, we are here. We will take you to the hospitals surrounding us. We're not going to let anything happen to you. You call 911, we're going to come, we're going to respond. So I just want to alleviate any fears, anything out there that could be causing any kind of stress for anybody. Call us, we will come and take care of you. We had one call last night where we took a patient to DeKalb, and the day crew earlier today had a call where they took the patient to Defiance. So we are here. So if there's nothing else, that's all I have.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ron's got one.
No.
Did you say question?
I said, thank you, Bruce.
Oh.
Sounds just like it though.
Going to the fiscal officer's report. Oh, I'm sorry, park director, I'm sorry, Val. Gary, you want to talk, Gary, you want to say anything?
I want to say nothing.
All right, he just said something. Yeah. All right, okay, now the fiscal officer.
Okay, you have the fund status and cash summary as usual. I put in your purchase order report, if you have any questions about that. And the current revolving loan report, everybody's current and up to date.
Couple things.
Okay.
Did you find out on the income tax why it was down? At the last meeting?
That was the answer that I want to share at the moment.
Okay. Just a couple things on the purchase orders, just more curiosity than griping.
Okay.
The Lonaker Brothers Commercial Building, that 17,000, what's that for?
It's for a new foam roof on the pavilion, over the restrooms and the kitchen there, to stop the leakage.
And we talked about tearing that down and redoing.
Talked about tearing all the dirt around the outside of it.
And the issue is the foam roof that's leaking.
Okay, well, just hate to see you do that, and then you do the other work, mess up your new roof.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought that hill was coming down.
No, originally we thought the hill was the culprit, but the way that roof is, it overhangs maybe 2 inches. So, you know, how a drip edge works, it's just running down that wall and getting in. They came by and they dug around the perimeter of it, and found where it's coming in at. And the roof has been beat to death. It's got holes in it, and rocks, and kids up there messing around.
Is it a good idea to put another one up there like that?
Well, they don't have any rocks. The plan is to get rid of all the rocks around that building, period. And the way it is, it's really lumpy. There's no, you have low spots, so what they'll do is they'll shave all that down, and they'll build it up on the backside of that chimney, and it'll have a gradual taper down.
That was the only only bid you got?
The only ones that will do the Conklin roofing.
But after you looked at everything, you think that's gonna help with the CP down to black? Instead of, you're still not planning on moving the hill, like you're doing this round, it's less expensive.
No, I mean, that's fine. Deering compressor, 24,000, for something at the sewer plant.
Yep, we had a blower motor that tied up. We took it out and took it over to RNS here in town. He went through it. We ordered about $600 worth of shims, bearing races, a gear set. We pulled it all apart, put it all back together. He ran it by hand, felt it was good to go. We put it in, it ran for about 2 days and started knocking. We pulled it back out and noticed that one of the rotors was hitting the inside of the casing. So the only thing we could think of is one of the internal bearings maybe had some wear and tear on it that wasn't seen. Scott did not really want it back because it sat there in his shop for probably 4 months until he could get to it. It's something he doesn't really mess with. Deering was a little bit cheaper than Excelsior, and we was able to actually drive it to Deering. And then they have it now, and it's all tore down. We're just waiting for the phone call to go pick it back up.
Where's Deering located?
They were by Akron.
That was an overnight trip.
Now if you're going 35 mile an
That's all I
Nobody else? You got anything else, Cheryl?
I do.
Okay.
I need to have you recommend Abby Laker to be replaced on as utility clerk.
Abby Laker from McDonald's?
Yeah.
So Cheryl went through some interviews, and I think you and Dawn had an interview. We had good
There's a lot of them.
So,
There's a lot of
so they looked at everything, had good applicants. So I will make that motion for Abby Laker to take Dawn's replacement. It gives her about a month to train, right?
Yes.
Full month. Dawn's done at the end of June. So,
Make a motion.
I'll second.
roll call.
Beverly?
Yep.
Martin?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Egley?
Yes.
And speaking back of that, because we had it in our table, we had an estimate about a generator. I know Stacy and Bruce worked on the generator for the fire department. They do not have a backup generator. They do have a generator, but in extreme emergencies, that is supposed to get transported to, I believe, First Church of Christ for hookup in case we need to take residents to a different facility. We thought over the course of time, speaking with, there's some grant applications out there that reopened because of Ohio's had a lot of natural devastation. The state opened up some grants when I reached out to EMA and then Maumee Valley. They said that they could apply for some grants for that generator. And I thought we could try for that now, since they asked for an estimate, to submit that with a letter, and, for needs and stuff.
The
So
only estimate you got?
they just asked for an estimate. So
I would make sure it's an all-in price. The 125 foot of 1.5 inch gas line, that's not part of this.
Right.
And if they don't do it for free,
No, well, yeah, you got.
They hire-
All high gas will have to do, but
yeah, it's.
the gas,
so much a foot.
everything from the meter to hooking it up and having it running is supposed to be in that. That's what Darren said. 'Cause
Darren got the price from
Because Darren
Ohio
talked
Gas.
to, now,
'Cause that's extra.
okay, well, I'm saying whatever, it's running at, Shackles, Sue talked to her.
Yeah, Phil's the one.
Yeah, Phil's the one that's gonna hook it up.
That Sue did ours.
Yeah, and that's supposed to be in that. That's what he told, Darren told me.
I just confirmed that, because like, when we added the gas line to the field house, when they added the field house on, we had to pay for that. I'm not lying, to run it from the road out back there, like 31,000, I think, just for the gas line.
Not cheap.
I mean, that was a lot farther than 125 feet, but
I'll double check though, but.
I had to pay for my gas line from my house back to my building when I built it.
Majack, that's the only company they allow typically do their work, is Majack.
So
The Brian boys.
if you want to check about any additional costs, maybe
I'll
we'll
double check
apply
with
for
Aaron.
that for some.
The Ohio Gas normally only has Majack, that's their work
Are
typically.
you gonna, not do this until you have grant money to do it?
Yeah, for this year, there's nothing in the budget, so.
Right, right.
I asked Bruce here earlier if he, could work on that and get something submitted to the proper
Well, we
grant
went,
writers on that. to
went
submit.
150 years without one.
Right.
We'll probably make it.
I think the building needs one. I mean, they've talked about it for years
Should've been
now,
built with one.
having a backup. They said just have.
Had everything
manual.
else.
You gotta have one open doors.
Right, the manual opening of the doors manually would be very tough, so. That's why you saw that proposal, and we went ahead and asked Darren to give us a proposal on that. I'll do my mayor's report here real quick. We did have a housing meeting, that's what Erica's here for, here in a little bit. Did the grant here, talk about that. Verizon Tower update, Corey and myself met today, Mark Warnicki, Michael Wall, Erica was in that, on that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we got some, we got a agreement sent back to us from American Tower. They want us, they're willing to move, we're okay to move, but kind of bottom line is, and they were going through, the attorneys were looking through the documents and everything. We can move it, but we get to pay for everything. Kind of thing. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Hold on that, though.
Uh,
Can I talk on that?
Sure.
So, when we started this whole entire,
You gotta go up to the
Okay.
podium, sorry.
when we started this whole venture, we made sure that there was no line there. Made sure there was no fiber, we knew there was an easement, but we knew that there was no fiber line there. And through this entire thing, what ended up happening was, I found out that somebody, I don't know who, but from the village, gave authority for, SMTA was contracted by Verizon to run the line up the middle. So that's what happened. So Mayor Jones said, well, clearly it's our fault, so if we have to pay for it, I'll have to present that to the board. At the time, which was 2 years ago, Rick from SMTA gave us a quote that was very reasonable. We now just need to get that new quote.
I'd reach out to Rick and ask him if he could prepare another quote, but the attorneys, Rachel's part of it now, sent the documentation to her, so they're making sure that we're not gonna get on the hook for anything else. Look at the proposal, making sure that, we waited a long time for this.
Well, they're also wanting an Alta survey,
Right.
which Michael Wall with Keller Logistics is getting a quote for that. But I don't know where things got lost in translation and how things got approved, but we wouldn't have been going through this had it not been for somebody getting approval to somebody to run the fiber line.
Shouldn't they have to present a written deal to you that said, or to you that says, this is here, it's signed by Joe Blow and he said we could put it.
I'm assuming that would be village because you guys own it. I mean, at the time, we don't even have, we don't have any documentation or any approval say in anything at this point. I just was going along, find out that it's got a fiber line now running through it, which we've been working on this for over 2 years.
Mhm.
So,
And when I talked to Rick, he did say that Verizon reached out to him to install the fiber line. He said, I can't move it until Verizon or American Tower says move it. Well, the original contractors on it. So when that happened, we don't know. Right?
You're talking 3 figures, 4 figures, 5
No.
figures?
his original quote 2 years ago was around $8,000.
That's the big 450.
So, I mean, I think we need to figure out what we're working with as far as like cost of what it's gonna cost. That could change, that was from 2 years ago. But then maybe we can look at some grant avenues or something, but, yeah.
But does that guarantee us that they'll
So,
be done and signed off and leave us alone? And
who do you want to leave us alone?
well, Verizon never gets involved, but they're the ones that help us up, so.
Correct. Yes, we would get that signed and then they would waive it, we could move it, we could start building a building down there eventually. Keller mentioned, when I say Keller, his team mentioned today that they might even, since, you know, they had to wait on this, they have a lot of other things happening. So, they wouldn't be ready to do anything this year anyways. So they mentioned to us today in the call that should something, like we get this all figured out, they might want to go more the customized route for this year. Like, for example, if somebody came to me and said, we'd like to build there, they'd build it and they would set their other stuff and put that in the front. But for this year, they're already like swamped with projects, so they're not going to be doing the spec building. To be completely honest, it's going to probably take us that long just to get everything, like the development agreement, the land transferred, all that anyways, because we're almost to June.
He said Brian is still on board with the project, it's just something that's not gonna happen within the next month.
Thank you, Eric.
But, thank you. Summer concert series is starting, where's my flyer here? At the Huber. First concert is June 6th. It is ladies' night. They're working with local businesses. Fat Pig Barbecue will be there. Maddie Lawson is doing the entertainment. It is from 5:30 to 7. It's free to the public. Shop downtown, different things going on. So we encourage people to be there on June 6th at the Huber outdoors, not stage, but patio there. So please stop down and check that out. Something else that I sat through today was about an hour and a half, and I'm just bringing this up. Adult retail sales cannabis. The state, with their change of structure, with how communities can, or businesses can set up cannabis retail stores. Some communities are looking into allowing it completely, limiting it, or prohibiting it. I've talked to the chief a couple times about what we should do as a village and where we stand on those kind of operations being within our village limits. I had asked Brian, Ohio did some legislation here about a year ago to look at what kind of limitations they want, or allowing it completely. With this coming into Ohio more heavily in June, they've got cultivation, manufacturing, distribution centers. They can apply for retail along with a different level of licensing for just standalone retail. So I kind of would have to ask the ordinance committee, I talked to Rachel about it too, to look into it.
Mayor, didn't we pass an ordinance that says you can't do that?
It was only manufacturing.
And it was
nothing
medicinal
retail.
too.
Yeah, medicinal. So, if you want to, I guess, look into how we're going to handle a situation like
Well,
that.
there's plenty of guys around town that sell it, so I guess it ain't gonna hurt to make it legal.
At least get some revenue.
But, you know, that's a decision on council, if what direction the city's going to have with that type of sales. I talked to, like I said, I talked to Rachel, and we have to make a decision. They're allowing so many licenses to go out, over 180 to 200 they're expecting right out of the gate throughout the state. They're mapping everything to see where those will all be distributed, kind of thing. So there was 3 attorneys on the webinar today talking about what communities can do, what different organizations to do.
So how soon do you need the ordinance committee to get together?
I'd say within the next probably 2 weeks.
All right, I'll get with you too. We'll get something hammered out.
And then I can give you some information on where to reach out to state levels. These guys are, they're dealing with this on a state level, so if you have questions, concerns, you can reach out to them. Last thing I have, I want to address the fire chief position. I had a committee formed, 2 firemen and 2 council people. We did interviews last Monday. They were all good quality candidates. They all had good skill sets, different backgrounds, different ways of coming in. But with the overall decision on that, I'm going to nominate Derek Cochran as our new fire chief. I would need to make a motion as we did with the utility clerk. But with everybody that brought their resumes together and different attributes to the job, I feel comfortable nominating him, so it's up to council if you guys want to approve it.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Bassett,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yeah?
Beverly,
Sure.
Martin,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Egley.
Yes.
Very good, thank you. I want to thank the candidates, everybody involved, dealing with the situation with bringing more people in, the hospital situation. We're going to work together in making our department stronger. I've had different people reach out to me, and during the selection time frame, if you have any concerns, call me. I don't want to hear side talk, back talk, round, come straight to me. I've asked all the candidates to bring forth what they got, and I think Derek's going to bring some new things to the table. I want him to work to better the department, so we'll leave it at that. But anything else?
Mr. Mayor, while I respect your, your judgment on this, is there a way that in the future the 4 of us that aren't on the committee to select could get a little more information before we're asked to vote on something like this, department head wise, please?
Yeah, at least a couple days ahead of time.
I don't even know who this guy is, so I just wanted everybody else.
Does anybody else have anything?
Mayor, I would like to ask for a executive session for personnel, please.
And then I'd also like to deal with a land acquisition, and I would also like to add that to the
Gotta be dandy.
executive.
Time out,
Well,
personnel,
What?
you have to say what it is. I have the
Personnel?
book, that's not enough.
Look something up, write it down.
No.
Hiring and firing,
Are you doing one or the other?
right? That's why we're having a meeting, Cheryl.
Just asking.
roll call. No, is there a motion? I mean, we got a motion in the beginning. Go to executive.
I'll make that motion.
Did you make those for here too?
Yeah, land.
Okay, I didn't
Yeah.
hear. Okay. So you made the motion? I'll second.
Roll call.
Beverly,
Yes, ma'am.
Bailey,
No.
Bassett,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Egley.
Yes.
Could I say one thing before Bill shuts off about the hospital?
Yeah.
I will say Bill has done his best. He got thrown into a major mess when he came in January. I can't believe any of our state, local, federal representatives haven't given a hoot.
They have.
Have they reached out to Governor DeWine?
I do believe that State Representative Klopfenstein has been
Okay,
making
that's
calls.
one. We're solid Republican up here, and it took a Democrat from Toledo to reach out. Nothing against Mrs. Capter, but I think people need to flood his office.
Flood all of them? Flood all of them?
Yes.
Flood all.
Because they're gonna come next election cycle, oh, we do so much for you.
Well, I
What
thought,
do they do here?
I know Erica's been working on this for what, about a year and a half. She's reached out. I've reached out, Captor, Vance, Klopfenstein. I just kept saying, is there anything we can do to help these guys? I know different people were reaching out at different levels. The hospital staff was reaching out at different levels. We just couldn't get anybody to come in here and take a look. I mean, nobody came to our town to check out our hospital.
No, a simple request to restructure shouldn't just say, we're not gonna worry about
And then we
it.
can back it up. Back it up, yeah.
So I think if they would hear from the fire districts or the EMS districts, however you want to put it, community, school, council, probably right away. I mean, you need to let these guys know that, do you really care about us up here? Because I hate to see the hospital go away.
It's gonna create overtime for us, because now we have no hospital.
Well, that's what I mean. I don't think
Crisis
Columbus understands what this really
Because
does.
we're gonna have to go outside, outside the building.
Right, absolutely.
Any
Next time Roy stops for coffee, we're gonna send him home.
All right. We passed executive